what I did was take a piece of just regular 12 by 12 paper, and I'm going to trim it to 5 inches. And I'll lay that other piece to the side, and then I am just going to fold it in half and get a good crisp fold. I've got my bone folder here to get a good crisp fold. So now I just folded with I've got the print on the outside and the black on the inside. Then I'm going to use the colossal cutting system, and I'm going to put it on top. Right here where the fold is, I'm going to hang this colossal cutting system over the edge so that I will actually have this piece be the crease where you open it. So to do that, I need to make sure that this is hanging over on the folded side. If you don't do it on the folded side, it'll just cut 2 circles into your piece of paper. So make sure you're on the fold there. And then I'm going to hang it over about the width of 2 of these thicknesses here. Then I'm going to cut down. I'm going to use the outermost circle here so that it'll be the biggest card I can make. And this colossal system has a little thing on there, so I'm going to trim around that where it just didn't cut the whole circle. So then I get the whole thing out, and there's my card base. So then what I'm going to do is use the same colossal cutting system and cut out the center of the front of the card. Alright, so I'm going to cut this circle out of the front. I don't want to cut it out of both layers though, because I want the back to be the back of the card. So I'm going to open it out, and cut out that one circle side. So I'm opening it out, and then I'm going to cut it the width of 2 of these. Cut it all the way around that one side. I got it. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim it out the rest of the way. And then I'll have the hole in the middle of my card. And we're ready to start with the web. Okay, so now to start with the web, I've got a little foam pad here that I'm just going to poke holes with, and then I'm going to, on the outside ring here, I'm going to make just basically an addition sign. I'm going to poke a hole halfway the width, and I'm going to do it in an addition sign. So the 4 points across here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's no real rhyme or reason. And then I'm going to put one in between each one of those spots. I'm just going to try to do halfway to make the X. Now I'm going to make an X across. So I've just put a hole at the 12 and the 6 on a clock. I've done it at the 9 and the 3 on a clock. And then I did halfway between these 2, and halfway between these 2, halfway between these 2, and halfway between these 2 to make that X. So now I'm just going to thread some embroidery floss. I love embroidery floss. I use it on just about everything I make. So I'm going to tie a quick knot here. 1, 2, 3. And it actually tied the knot, but it came unthreaded. That's just my luck. So let me re-thread it real quick. Things don't ever happen very quickly. I'm using all 6 strings and I'm in the embroidery floss. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to I'm going to start in here at the inside. So I'm going to start on the inside of the card and at the inside hole. And all I did was just do a straight line across. And of course, it gets wrapped everywhere. Got it straight across, and then I'm going to just go to the next hole from the back, because I want all my the movement with my thread to be on the back, just like you would on a needle point or anything else you're doing. And then I'm going to come straight over in the X, the first X, diagonally. There, and then I'm going to go from the back here. And if you pull too tight, it seems to pull your card together. So you've got to just keep it on a loose, kind of a loose, I just kind of lay it down and make sure that it has a chance to readjust itself so it doesn't pull your card together too tightly. And then I just went to the next hole, and you just keep going to the next hole. And then after going to my, see there where I pulled it a little too tight. Okay, now at this point, you can go back in and tie it off on the back. I kind of seem to have this one thread that's kind of out and about, but and so you can just tie it off here on the back. And I normally just wrap it around and back through a couple times. Now this is where you want to just be sure that your tension isn't too tight, but also not too loose, which is kind of challenging. So I'm just trying to make sure that this knot gets tied down here without being either one. If it's too tight, it'll pull your card too snug, and if it's too loose, then it won't quite do it. So we're at this point, and I'm going to cut this piece off. Okay, so at this point, I've just got a new piece of embroidery thread, and I'm going to go and I'm going to tie these all together right in the center. So I'm just going to tie a quick knot right here in the center. This next series is basically just a series of knots. So you can kind of adjust your spider web to however you want it to function. I'm going to try to get the tension equal on all 4 parts of mine, unless you want to have, you see how this one's sagging here, so I would just try to readjust the tension on there. And then I'm going to leave that dangling until the end just for no real purpose. But alright, and then basically what I did was just pick one of them to go, one of your outer strands, and I just went about halfway and tied a simple